Hello, Bill Molyneux here, and I'm in Sunbury, Pennsylvania at Fort Augusta, a French Indian War fort. And we're going to spend a few minutes here, and then Mr. Mike, who's the Vice President of the Historical Society of the fort, he actually gave me a private tour in the fort, and none other than Goober the Traveling Bear is here too. So we're going to do a quick tour of the fort. This fort is a 1/6 scale, and I apologize for the traffic. It literally sits on the road. So we're going up a ramp, and this is a 1/6 scale Fort Augusta. We are actually on the property where the fort was emplaced. So I've come off the ramp. I've been dealing with some sunlight issues, getting late in the day here in October 9th. You see that mountain in the background, the natives and some French scouting party. At one time, the story goes that they were looking over the fort to see if it could be attacked, and they saw how immense it was, and they left. So this fort is quite cool in the sense of how well it's built to the specifications of the actual fort. And at night, the buildings light up. And in the museum, they actually have one of the original artillery pieces from this fort, which you will see later. My good friend Leonardo is quite often does events here with his Augusta and Conrad unit reenactors, and I also have participated in some living history events here too. We're going to go take a look at the original well and some other monuments here on the property. Well, here we are at the well. This is in one of the bastions. The well was located in the west bastion of the fort. It was hand dug shortly after the troops arrived. The well is approximately 35 feet deep, lined with stone. I'm going to do for all of you, you can pause your video to read this. And I apologize about the car traffic. There's not much I can do about that. So here's our well. Now let's go check out the powder magazine. Well, here we have the original powder magazine, and I'm gonna say it'd be spooky to go down there. It's locked up. It was 12 by 20. We'll do the holdover here. It also served as the county's first jail. And the family who acquired the property later used it to store grain. So, I bet Leonardo has the key to go down into the powder magazine. Really cool. All right, well, we're gonna head across the street to the cemetery. All right, so now we are over at the cemetery. And I've actually helped out with this at times where they've had the tours. So here we have the tombstones, and We have a Revolutionary War stone here that I actually can read. So we have some very nice. I hope they all rest in peace. And very somber. This is my third cemetery this weekend. So stay safe, be kind, be courteous. I may link this up with another video. Hello, Bill Molyneux here with Bill's History and Wargame World, and Mr. Mike here at Fort Augusta in Sunbury, Pennsylvania is kind enough to let me in the museum for a private tour. And of course, Mr. Mike knows the great Lynn Otto. So rather than me chit-chat about something I don't know about, Mr. Mike, take it away.
Okay, well right here we have a 2-pound cannon, and they call it a 2-pound cannon because it shoots a 2-pound cannonball. Now this cannon wasn't from Fort Augusta, but it's of the period of Fort Augusta. Then if we're moving over here, we have an immigrant's chest that came across in 1749. And most everybody knows who Chief Shikellamy was, and his friend Count Zinfandorf, who was a Moravian minister that Christianized Shikellamy. He also brought the blacksmith shop here in the 1740s. All these are artifacts that were found here on site. All our artifacts here are found on site. There's
wow.
Trade beads. This little cross here we found on the left, the one on the left we found here on site in the 70s, and we reproduce them and sell them. These are the original blacksmith tools. Now in 1755, when the Indians burnt their village down and left the area, they buried their blacksmith tools, and the Moravian ministers fled back to Bethlehem. In the 1970s, they found the tools again. These are the original blacksmith tools from Fort Augusta.
And where were these buried?
They were buried out here on the property.
Wow, that's amazing.
When they burnt
How
their
far
village
deep down were they?
I'm not quite sure. I wasn't here. I was in the service then when they found them. This is the Augusta Regiment here. There was 400 men that came up the river to build Fort Augusta. They left 100 people at Fort Halifax as a supply fort, and then came up the river to Fort Augusta. These are here again. Here are some grappling hooks and things that they found on site. And over here, some more artifacts from the digs over the years. You can see stockade posts.
All right, let me catch up to you. There is quite a bit to see in this little museum.
Yeah.
Okay, very nice.
Now this model here was made by the WPA, Works Progress Administration, before they built the first model out front that was torn down in 1983. We put this second model in 2013 that's out there now. The first little house is where the commandant lived, the next house is where the officers lived, and the other 4 places were for the enlisted men. The Potter magazine was on this side, the well was on that side, and they're outside, and I'm sure they'll be in the video later on.
And the well is over here. I'll get that in the video. Very nice. Now, the gentleman that built this, is he still alive, or has he passed on?
No, I don't think so. They were built by WPA in the 40s.
Because this is an incredible diorama.
This was actually found by Michael Sleece up in New England on eBay.
Wow.
And he brought it back to the museum here.
All right, what else you want to show us, Mr. Mike?
These sticks right here. You see how these sticks are bundled up like this?
Yes, sir.
They hid behind these sticks. You can see it in the painting up here. Until they built the fort, they hid behind the sticks. It took 90 days to build the fort until it was strong enough to withstand an attack.
And I know the person who painted this, but I'll let you mention that.
I'm not sure. I always call him Mr. Hogan, but
yeah, Mr. Chuck Hogan of the Augusta Regiment, who has captured me at many reenactments, and I've captured him at some, painted that. And it's a joke about him and I capturing each other depending what battle we're at. Mr. Mike, take it away. Where else are we heading to?
Okay, we'll come over here. This is a bust of Chief Shikellamy here. Of course, he had a peace medal from King George. It was given to him. He was very proud of that. He always wore his gorget, and he had the nice big white beads that he wore.
Very nice, very nice.
This is a gun that was made by...
May I ask, is this made out of metal?
Yes, bronze, I think.
Bronze, yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Very nice. Okay, I'm sorry to interrupt you. I just had to ask.
This is a gun made by the gunsmith of Fort Augusta by the name of Jacob Markley. And Jacob Markley was a remarkable fella. He was working up here at the gunsmith, and a fella came up from Philadelphia and wanted to paint his portrait. And he told the fella, "If I catch you painting my portrait, I'm going to shoot you." So the guy went back to Philadelphia. He painted this portrait that you see right there is a copy of it, and gave it to the family after Markley passed. This is his patch box here, his powder horn here, and his traveling case lined with deerskin up here.
Oh, wow. Let me get a video of that. Wow. So that's 250 years plus sitting up there, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely. And here's some other artifacts that we found here. A lot of people wonder what these things are. These are crow's feet. They used to scatter these around for the Indians to step on. And you can see that they found a bayonet and what it would have looked like, and a lock and what it would have looked like. Now down here we have different cannonballs. They went by size, and that's some grape shot there. Now this cannon over here is very interesting. This is from Fort Augusta. This cannon came into Harper's Ferry in 1755, came up here to Fort Augusta in 1756, did duty here at the fort till the Revolutionary War. And the Revolutionary War was taken up to Fort Freeland and used up there at Fort Muncie, and used at Fort Muncie. When Fort Freeland was attacked and taken over, they abandoned Fort Muncie. They put the cannons in the river, in a boat in the river, brought it down the river, and threw the boats in the water because I guess they were dragging on the bottom. In the 1850s, somebody found this cannon. It has English markings, and in the 1860s, a guy hit it with a sledgehammer and knocked 6 inches off the end of it. But what happened to this cannon was it became like a trophy between towns. Northumberland would steal it from Sunbury, and then somebody would come steal it from Northumberland, and back and forth, and it went all around the towns in the area here until the turn of the century, 1900s. It came to the fire company, and they gave it to the museum. So that's our famous cannon from Fort Augusta there.
Wow, very cool.
This is a battle flag of the Augusta Regiment. It's actually a British naval flag, but that's what they adopted for their battle flag.
Okay.
And then over here we have a lot of buckles off of shoes and buttons off of uniforms. We have some toothbrushes here that are made out of bone with bristle in them, and different artifacts in this case here.
And all of this is all found here, huh?
Yes, all found on site. Now on this side we have what they call a camp follower. This was a woman that would follow the troops. They were allowed to march behind the troops. At night they could come in and cook and do nursing and things like that. If you look at her, you can see an original brown vest from 1756. Shoots a 3/4 inch ball, 78 caliber. The thing is so long it's hard to even hold up the point. I don't know how they did it, but we were gifted that from a fella in Milton. And then here's a Augusta Regiment uniform. This is what they knew the colors were right. Red and green, but this is what they think it looked like. And of course the men had a lot of buttons on their uniforms. Then we have some checkers here, some dice, some lead pencils, Jew's harps, and the pipes back there is an interesting story. When you go into a pub and give a pub master a couple pennies for a pipe, he would pull out a pipe that was real long, and he would break the piece off in front of it after he put tobacco in it to show it was sanitary for you. That's why you find all those little pieces.
Wow. Very, very nice.
And that's pretty much it for the fort.
Okay.
We do have Sunbury stuff and Northumberland County stuff over on the other side.
Well, Mr. Mike, I want to say thank you very much.
You're welcome.
It's incredible you opened the museum up for me. Would you like to say any last things before I go outside and do the outdoor tour?
Well, what I'd like to say is keep history alive. It's being lost by our younger generation.
And here at Sunbury, Pennsylvania, when is your museum here open?
We're open every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 1 to 4, and we're open on Sundays from 2 to 4.
2 to 4. Thank you very much. Stay safe, be kind, be courteous, everyone. Stay tuned for the next video.